Hi and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your Friday night to join me. I really appreciate it. It's a number 3 out of 4 for the evening. If you're new to the channel, which I don't feel like a lot of new people get to the channel, inevitably they end up watching a video, which is why I always have to bore everyone out, the handful of regulars, with all of this stuff. So do forgive me and just indulge me for one moment. But if you do happen to stumble upon the channel, either because of a feed or share or whatever, definitely consider hitting the thumbs up, subscribing. It really helps out the channel a bunch. And now we're going to be talking about parking lots. So, again, here on Vlogs About Nothing, I'm just a normal guy. Seriously, I have nothing going for me other than just kind of, being able to share my experiences in life. That's all I got for you. But seriously, I feel like it's something, and I feel like I'm just trying to make friends in a world where middle-aged guy, it's not easy to make friends. We're all stuck to our screens, and I mean, all obviously we think all of us. I think we can agree that it's maybe a little cringe to just like go up to people and just ask them to be your friends, but then like that's actually how you make friends sometimes, and more often than not you can actually make friends this way. You just really got to be careful on how you read people's faces, you feel me? I mean, although some people have RBF and it's totally not their fault and they're actually the nicest people in the world, some would say that it's good they have RBF because then nobody, like a random person, like me, talks to them, ask them to be their friend. But regardless, it's nice to have friends, and I really appreciate y'all. Okay, I consider y'all my friends. You feel me? Like especially a handful of people who have been faithful and dedicated to this program since the beginning, which has been a handful of months ago now, and we've been at it every single day. So let's talk about parking lots. Parking lots are interesting, right? Like parking in general is interesting. Seeing big empty parking lots while also simultaneously seeing dozens of homeless people trying to reside within those empty parking lots, it's kind of terrible, right? In that this country has allocated a lot of public space to parking, and at the detriment of all of us. Link in the description below to a really cool video that talks about parking and how Chicago doesn't own any of its own streets. That's interesting, right? That Chicago doesn't own any of its own streets, because they don't. In fact, they're owned by investment bankers. They were purchased from the city of Chicago, and just for a few $1 billion. And now, I did the math when I was watching the video, and I'm fairly certain they're at break even point now, or just even like a bill over, which is like a lot of money for a relatively short term investment. I mean, $1 billion in 20 years is not bad. If we could all put a little bit in a fund to get a bill in 20 years, I mean, after inflation and all the corporate gouging of prices, I'm not sure if that'll actually be a lot. Oh my goodness, hyperinflation, here we come. No, holy potatoes. I just joke a lot, you feel me? But nonetheless, parking is a big deal. It really is, because places like Chicago, for example, my brother lives in Chicago. I've been to Chicago. I stayed there for a while, and I stayed in the city of Chicago as well as just outside of Chicago in Libertyville, which is a suburb just outside of Chicago, east of Chicago, right on the side of Lake Michigan there. And regardless, when I was in Chicago the first time, it was not a city that had its streets owned at the, at the didn't like corporations didn't own them quite yet. I think they like reverted to owning them in like 2008 or something, 2004 maybe. I don't know. Link in the description below to that video. But regardless, when I was in Chicago, seeing all of the different ways that you can get around the city without using a car is quite remarkable. It's spectacular, honestly. Like, they have some of the greatest underground parking facilities I've ever seen. And the video actually failed to mention that, now that I think about it, as it concerns, where all those thousands of cars do park, and how they often, don't park on the surface because there's just not enough room on the sides of streets. And that's what we're talking about. And I feel like that small and dedicated space that is there on the road in thoroughfares, as it concerns pedestrians, and anywhere there's like especially more pedestrians than there are commuter cars, it's to the disadvantage of the community, because one, the city doesn't benefit at all, especially in this case, as it exclusively pertains to Chicago, in that they reap no financial benefits and or incentive, and the city always is responsible for paying these private companies for utilizing these parking meters that are on the sides of streets that are technically owned by corporations and investment bankers that then charge the city. So it's like taxpayers are paying a hidden tax to a corporation, which is weird because the only people that should be taxing us is Uncle Sam. I mean, he's just one person. I wish Uncle Sam would like. I mean, it's 2024, right? Let's all launch a public campaign to get Uncle Sam married. I don't care. I don't want to get into the PC conversation. He can marry another guy named Anthony for all I care. I really don't. So I mean, actually, that's kind of cool. Uncle Sam and Anthony. We'd have two uncles. The only thing better than having one rich uncle is having two rich uncles. Is Uncle Sam straight or heterosexual or homosexual or bisexual? I mean, is there a backstory on Uncle Sam? Does anybody know? You guys, is there a backstory on Uncle Sam? I know there's a backstory on the Kool-Aid Man, and I actually am going to include a link in the description below too to the Kool-Aid Man documentary I seen. But if you guys didn't know, the Kool-Aid Man has a whole story. He's got a whole backstory. So I encourage you to all learn about the Kool-Aid Man because there's no better history to learn, honestly. The Kool-Aid Man keeps it real. And the Kool-Aid Man always wants to have fun and just have Kool-Aid with you. I mean, legit, like, that's the best kind of troll ever. It's like, what's the Kool-Aid? No, everyone knows what the Kool-Aid. No one needs to know what the Kool-Aid Man is doing ever. He's always trying to get you to drink some Kool-Aid, which is ironic because he's made of Kool-Aid. So then, like, are you drinking Kool-Aid Man? Or does he, like, have a separate stash of Kool-Aid? And if he does, where did he get that Kool-Aid? I don't know, all these questions that I have, but regardless, parking lots and parking in general is an interesting topic to discuss because it really does impact us, and especially for all those folks in Chicago who, again, are unknowingly a lot of the time paying a lot of people out of pocket that they otherwise would normally have to pay, and if they did, again, they'd be paying Uncle Sam and Uncle Anthony, and they'd be taking care of the streets better. You feel me? And that tax-paying money would stay within the tax-paying system instead of being handed off to another group of people. Again, only one person and or now potentially two people have the opportunity to do that at any point in our given lives. Of course, at the discretion of, like other entities that act on behalf of Uncle Sam and Uncle Anthony. I'm gonna roll with that one forever. I think a lot of people are gonna hate me for that, but that's unfortunate because, like, there's no better again, like, there's no better way to explain it other than saying that the only thing better than having one rich uncle is having two rich uncles. So I mean, I'm not gonna get all polygamy with it. I mean, I guess three uncles would be better than two. I'm just saying, we'll keep it reasonably politically correct, debatable, right? Let's hear Shapiro talk about that idea. I'm not sure he'd like me very much. Anyways, which is interesting because I actually think he's a great speaker, for the record, now, just so that it's known. And he's a pretty intelligent guy, truly. I mean, he runs like an empire. He's doing pretty good for himself. I mean, I'm unemployed, have no future, and I'm just kind of chilling, making vlogs about nothing, hoping for a handful of viewers, This guy employs hundreds of people and lives a life I can't even imagine. So, anyways, why did we start talking? Oh, yeah, because no one's going to like me for the Uncle Sam and Uncle Anthony bit. That's fine. I can handle it. Anyways, I hope that you guys have a lovely night, and just know that, again, wherever you are in your city, think about parking, honestly, and think about whether or not it's worth seeing, such dire circumstances occur when there's literally just an empty parking lot, right? Like, just because somebody owns it and is getting a tax break, or because they make a few dollars out of it every single time the state fair comes around. Again, one of these just like, parking lots. something that we really all should talk about and think about more. I hope that you guys have a really good evening. Seriously, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. That was actually a really fun vlog. Not like they're all not very fun vlogs, but again, it's kind of like a job. And I just hope that you guys on at home are, enjoying your life. And I just am happy to be a part of that experience. So if you're not doing well, you feel me, or if you've been sick or something like that, get better. You're going to be fine. And thanks again for being my friend. I really appreciate that. All right, so I hope you guys have a really good night. Bye.